Hey everyone, welcome to Tactical Manager TV. Today we have here Terrence Boyd. Many of you are most likely familiar with him. Obviously, the very young viewers might not. Terrence, how are you doing? And thank you very much for being here.
I'm fine, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good as well here at warm Florida. And is it kind of cold there in Germany?
Of course, I'm in Germany. Yeah, it is cold. Yeah.
So, Terrence, before we start with the questions here, can you catch us up a little bit on currently where you're playing? How's it going? Very quickly.
Yeah, right now I'm playing at Halle FC. It's in the third league in Germany. So as of right now, I'm a full-time dad and part-time football player.
And many of you might remember Terrence from the generation in 2012, 2013, 2014 for the U.S. men's national team. He was even in the provisional roster for the World Cup in 2014 in the United States. So, Terrence, I'm going to go to the first question here, and this is something that interests me a lot. You played for Bundesliga 1, 2, 3, scored in all three leagues, if I'm not mistaken, played in the Austrian league, played a little bit in the MLS as well, and you're familiar with. My question to you is, more towards the MLS, what are the differences between these leagues, and where would you rank the MLS compared to these leagues? Is it stronger, weaker? Is the MLS still far away from these leagues?
Well, first of all, the MLS is the only league I haven't scored in, which hurts a lot. But yeah, I played in a lot of leagues so far. But I mean, I always kind of compare the US to Germany, obviously because of my background, and I'm still following everything over there. Let's say when I was there, or like right now, the MLS would be like a second league, and the top teams will easily be first league teams,
Mm-hmm.
like the very top teams. So Toronto, I'm talking Seattle, I'm talking LAFC, Atlanta, of course. I might forget some of those, but the rest, to be honest, will be second league teams. And the difference, I mean, there are several things. First of all, you always say, okay, it's more tactical driven in Europe, in Europe, and it's more like physical, and like they focus more on the athlete itself. You know what I mean? But it's a difference. Like, the MLS. First of all, you can't get relegated.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very, very big part. I know, obviously, I asked many people, and I said, why doesn't it work? It's way too expensive for other teams, or second league teams to get up there, and they need investors and this and that. But the fact that you can't get relegated is actually crucial, because in Europe, I got relegated once. And everybody, who's brought up in Europe, what it means to fight, and to actually fight for jobs, not yours, but like, you like familiar with everyone in the club. And then, okay, if you guys get relegated, like the lady in the front office might lose her job, which is crazy, like the amount of pressure, right? And so you kind of build this resilience, or like this work ethic, to just compete through pressure, through so many things. And even back when I was in the national team long time ago, you could see the difference in the mindsets of like MLS players and players who play or used to play in Europe. It's gap is so big, just mind wise, because you know everyone who did go through those relegation battles, or who did go through the European football system, you know what it means to walk the extra mile. You know what I mean? So because if you like in MLS, you don't make the playoffs, you're like, okay, I'm gonna chill, got 2 months off, and go on holidays and whatever. And that's not the case. That was the only thing that really stood out for me. But other than that, for me personally, I mean, if you look at all those big leagues and other sports like NBA, like football, basketball, hockey, baseball, whatever, um, it's always the biggest leagues in the world. So if you're the Super Bowl champion, you're the world champ, right? And I think if you talk infrastructure, marketing, the media, and the pure athletes you got in the country, in the US, it's insane. So the potential, I think there would be a potential for the MLS to be one of the at least top 10, if not, like, let's say top 7, top 5 leagues in the world. But
And
part
And
is,
Terrace, actually, what you're saying there, I wanted to, sorry for interrupting, but I agree with you 100% what you're saying. And we say this a lot in the channel about how a lot of the American players, especially the ones that play in MLS, they need to be held accountable. I don't think they need to be held accountable for someone's job, maybe all that pressure. But we see the difference in the national team when we have MLS players and European-based players. Even though they're all American, we see that difference. And we've been talking about it, about how the MLS needs to change. And I like that you brought up the pro relegation as well, because I also agree that it's a problem that we don't have it.
But I don't know, because I'm not like, I don't know anything about the, you know, the all the details when it comes to money and infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy. And
but you know about the game. You know about the game, and that's what you're talking about, and how it affects the game. And I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, this will improve American players so much more. Then the next part is, you know, the education, like youth soccer. You know, it's common in Germany. If you want to go study in the US, you just take on a scholarship in soccer and go over to the US. You know what I mean? They have a good life. And most of them, they didn't even play in my clubs or like the old clubs, and they are captains at their colleges, which tells you everything about their level, right? And so when it comes to education, you can see like that there's still so much work ahead for the US, because I mean, obviously, if you look at the current national team, it's unreal. The talent pool, the potential we got. But if you look at, but you can't go and claim a Pulisic or a Weston McKennie, who got uneducated in Germany, for example, right? Because it's a whole different game over here. So we kind of need a European standard when it comes to youth coaching in the US.
Well, and it's good that you brought that up. For example, another player that we have that's super talented. He wasn't made, quotation mark, in Germany. Serginho Dest. He was developed in Holland, in the Netherlands. So it's another player. So most of our players are somewhat developed abroad. It's still working in the MLS. We are starting to get a few talents here and there. Giovanni Reina came from the New York City FC Academy, went to Dortmund very young, developed more in Dortmund. But yeah, most of our players are developed in Germany, Holland now as well. There's Alex Mendes there.
Since New York City is close to Man City, that they, you know, maybe swap coach, not in like the typical European education over there. So maybe New York is a step ahead of other MLS teams. Look at,
a team that's doing what you're saying is FC Dallas. They send players to Bayern to practice, like Chris Richards, Justin Che. They do that. So pretty much everything you said, there's also, so anyone that disagrees, there's also proof to it, what you just said. And we've been saying this, and I'm very happy. I didn't know that you had the same opinion as us. So at the channel,
that's what I'm criticizing, because I want to see more like, you know, European coaches, or let's say it could be American youth coaches who got the education from Europe, or interned in Europe or whatnot, but they need the same level of education. And as I said before, I think like when it just comes to a pure athlete, the US is the world champion every sport. You know what I mean? Just look at Odell Beckham. If you decide to play soccer, obviously isn't that famous or as famous, or you can't make them like you choose to play football or basketball. But every big tournament is just a big advertisement for the sport itself in the US, and that's why we hope to I hope that the US thrives in every upcoming tournament. So more young kids. LeBron James, okay, I couldn't imagine him playing soccer, but Saquon Barkley, I don't know.
Super talent
athletes would choose soccer and go through a nice education where they get shaped into quality players. Then the US will go so far. It's unreal.
And Terrence, that brings me, you touched a couple of the points of other questions I had already. So I'm going to go to this question, going with what you were saying. You're talking about the current generation and how it might not accomplish what previous ones had, quarterfinals and whatever, but it's probably the most talented. Potential-wise, it's the most talented. So, and this current generation has a lot of dual nationals, such as Yunus Musa, that just recently committed to the US, very good player for Valencia, and you're a dual national yourself. When it comes to all these other players that still have to make a decision if they're going to join the USMNT or if they're going to go to their country, what would you say to try to maybe not essentially convince them, but what it means to represent America?
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I was born and raised in Germany. I used to live, I think for 1 year. I used to live in the States. I was a baby. My dad's obviously was a serviceman, served in the Gulf War, and when he came back, we're from Queens, New York, but I can't remember, right? So I was raised in Germany, but I still felt an enormous amount of pride. Just hopefully one day repping the United States and singing the anthem. But that was a long shot for me. I could never imagine that I would one day actually be a national team player, which is not the case anymore. But still, it filled me with so much pride, and it was one of the biggest accomplishments ever for someone like me, because US just if you just move along from sports, US is the biggest and most, or not the biggest, but the most important country in the world, and we can all agree on that. And it's just something different about the US than to other countries. So for me, it was just a pride to be able to rep the United States. Yeah, how do you convince them? I mean, obviously, if you look at him, Musa, what other nationality is he?
Yunus Musa is actually American, British, Ghana, and Italian.
But for example, if you take England, if you take Italy, for example,
Mhm.
his chances of being a starter would be way higher than the US. Plus, you have the
Mhm.
life. I mean, obviously, if you go to camp in the States, it's different, because I play with a lot of national team players from other countries, and the US is by far the most entertaining. It's just a field, and camps are just you go to practice in the morning, and then you go. I don't know. You just, let's say you have camp in LA or in Florida, and you just live life. You just enjoy the rest of the day, but you can still focus. And I don't know. It's the
It's
vibes
different.
different level than to other countries.
Well, one thing I can tell you, I'm a dual national myself. I was born in Brazil. I even grew up a good part of. Now I lived more years in the U.S. than in Brazil in my life, but I lived, I think, 12 years in Brazil, so a long time in Brazil as well. So I know the difference of the soccer culture in Brazil compared to U.S. But the thing I noticed in the United States is this is a country that when they like something, when they really like something, they find a way to become number one.
Exactly.
They find a way. So in soccer, if the country starts to really like soccer, the United States will find a way to become number one. It might take time, but it will happen.
Yeah,
I think that's what you were saying as well.
they thought they do it the same way they do it with basketball and football, with drafting, college, this and that. It's not the same. It's totally different.
Mhm.
But I mean, who am I to say, hey, okay, you guys should have relegation, or, as I said before, the most important thing, the young kids can develop, right?
And the thing is, as much as maybe we're wrong, like I agree with you, I think we have a lot to change, but maybe we're wrong. Maybe whatever the MLS and the U.S. Soccer Federation is doing over the long term will work. Only time will tell in regards to that. And this is something I wanted to touch bases very quickly with you, very quickly on this topic. There has been a stricter lockdown in Europe than in the U.S. So, and it's very hard for us Americans to know how it is there. So it's very hard to talk about in a youth level, youth academy. I work with youth academies and all that. How does that affect the player development in the youth academies in Europe? Because it's been harsh there. How are you seeing it? I don't know if you're living it as well.
To be honest, I can only talk about Germany, and so far, all youth games are just shut down. So there's no training, no nothing, and it's
Mhm.
just, I got kids myself. My oldest is in kindergarten, and if you just look at normal students right now, or school kids, they're everyone is losing a year. I mean, you can homeschool as much as you want to. There will be no effects whatsoever, because it's not the same. If it's school, if
Mhm.
it's soccer, nothing, everything. So everyone's losing a year, and it's just hard, because um, yeah, obviously teams gonna suffer from it. The whole country is gonna suffer from it, because if you just look at students and potential workforces, I don't know how long it will go on, because it has to we have to get back to to a normal level as soon as possible, and learn how to live. Or I mean, it's my opinion, because otherwise, man, you can't do homeschooling 2 or 3 years. And the same goes with young talents right now. They need the development, they need the training, the education, because you got to work on your craft to become the player you one day going to be. So I wouldn't like to be a youth player right now and just sit there
Mhm.
for a year, and just, what can you do? You can go jogging, or what, I don't know.
A few academies are playing now, aren't they? I
No,
think Bayern is playing or practicing.
okay, I haven't even heard about it.
I
Okay,
think I think Justin Che, because Justin Che is someone we talked to in Che. I think he's at Bayern. I think he's on their U18 or U20. I think they're practicing now, but I think it was shut down for a while as well.
okay. I don't know if they playing again, if they have competitive matches again. I don't know about that, but maybe they training again. I mean, obviously, um, I mean, it's not a big deal if you're at a big club that can like, pay
Test a lot.
the test a lot.
Yeah.
You just you and your like closed up environment, so there would be no harm if you
Your
guys.
club is closed.
Yeah,
The youth.
no, I mean we training, we playing, but I mean if you get tested twice a week as we do,
Mhm.
then you could easily get back, and play. But there are also
Gotcha.
teams who can't afford to test twice a week, so yeah.
Yeah. Now, Terrence, one question here as well. You talked about now how you're a dad. You have expressed interest of coaching youth, coaching kids. Are you planning on when you retire becoming a coach, becoming a youth academy coach, still working as a trainer, as working with soccer?
100%. So I wanna become a youth coach, first and foremost, and if I got the talents, and the quality as a coach to one day become a professional coach, I don't know. So it's just you don't know yet. So, but
Mhm.
I always like is working with young players. Just working with talents and telling them, hey, you can do this, you can do that. Focus on working on your strengths and weaknesses and this, and like I think for myself, I have a good feeling of handling young kids and guiding them to become not just a player but the human, yeah, as best as possible, the best version of themselves. And this is my long-term goal after the career, that I become a good coach. But career wise, if I would be good enough as a professional coach, I don't know yet. So first want to check the first mark, go from there.
And you think we'll have you back in the MLS soon?
As a coach,
Maybe playing. You're still a player.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm open. I mean, obviously, everybody knows how much I love the US, and the Toronto,
Orlando City.
Orlando. The Toronto thing was, I knew Josie was there, so I'm probably not gonna play that much. But my situation at my club was so bad that I was just wanted to get out, and it was planned that I go with my wife, and we had our first daughter. And once I got there, she recognized that she became pregnant again and couldn't fly in at first. And long story short, I was there for like 6 7 months, and then she could finally move, but then we chose to go back to Germany, and yeah. But other than that, Toronto is a crazy city. It's nice. Canada was a nice country, but I wish I had like contributed more to the to Toronto and the MLS, because I wanted to score goals over there, and would be nice if it would work out once again, but who knows?
But look, Toronto's too cold. We need to get you somewhere warm. You need to play for Orlando City, Inter Miami, somewhere warm.
Yeah, I mean that's facts, man. Because I came in there in winter, it was unbelievable, unbelievable. It was, man. I felt like those dudes in Cool Runnings when they stood outside the airport. It was unreal. But yeah, Orlando should be nice.
And Terrence, one thing here, someone that messaged me also really requesting this interview. I think he talked to you before. Berlin Amerikaner from Twitter. He's a
Yeah,
huge fan of yours, big
yeah.
fan of yours, and he told me to tell you this. He wants you to keep retweeting your goals of the month votes, team of the half season, so he can vote for you, and all the Americans can vote as well. He said you retweet that quite often.
All right, I will do. But first of all, I got to score goals again, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got to get those goals.
yeah,
And one thing as well too that he mentioned, your nickname is Cyclops. Why is
yep.
that? The
Oh,
tattoo?
exactly. Yeah. So let's go. Just do the Cyclops, and yeah. I mean, I can't change it anymore because it's kind of like my thing now. So I'll just keep going with it. Yeah.
Now, to wrap up the interview, the very last thing, 2026. The World Cup is in the United States. The team is looking good. I'm not gonna give you my opinion right now. I just want to ask you: do you think it's realistic for the United States to win the World Cup, or do you think that's a stretch? It's more of a semifinal team, quarterfinal team. What do you think? A deep run?
Obviously, right now it's a stretch. We ain't got to lie about it. But if you look at the talent pool right now of the current national team, and just calculating ahead in 4 years, in 6 years, 5 years. Sorry, it's 2021
5 years.
years. If they not talented anymore, but like quality as players. But it's in the end of the day, you have, for example, you got England. They never win, and they have good players.
Oh, they're. I think link. Let's not even get to England. I talked about England. They hate. I say that England is not as good as they say. I say
Yes.
their media overhypes them too much,
Yeah.
and it makes them seem like they're this good, but they're
Yeah.
actually this good. And then they achieve exactly what they're supposed to. But because the media overhyped, it seems like an underachievement.
Obviously,
But it's not.
the league is the biggest league in the world, and everything is just weird. You see that Harry Maguire gets transferred for 80 million. Come on, man.
I'm
So,
not even going to comment on that.
so they live. Well, they have their own expectations, and whatnot. But what I want to say is, in the end of the day, if you have like 23 like unbelievable players, doesn't make you a world champ yet. In the end of the day, it's a team. Look at Germany, for example. Germany never had a Messi or Ronaldo, but they have the nickname of a tournament team. Somehow, I mean, they just won in 2014. After that, now actually they're in the big slump right now. Yugolev's gonna resign after the Euros, but I mean, they got how many World Cups do they have now?
Four.
Yeah. Somehow, like when there's not a big slump, they always reach the knockout stages and, let's say, semis and quarterfinals. Like
Well, Terrence, we could even talk about Croatia in 2018. They had a good team, but it wasn't anything spectacular.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's all about how do you work as a unit? How's the coach? Because look at Messi in Argentina. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make a favorite World Cup champion. So I hope that they're gonna go as far as possible and maybe win it. But
I hope.
it's a stretch, man. You edit it anyways, man. I'm in Germany.
No, you can curse out. It's free. When I have interviews here, it's free to curse out, especially when you're saying America's gonna win the World Cup. That you're allowed to do.
I mean, that would be a big dream for not just for me, but for everyone.
No, if we win the World Cup, you're gonna have to come here in the channel live and just yell "America, fuck yeah!" That's what you're gonna have to do.
That's a bet. Yeah,
that's a bet. Done. It's saved here. Terrence, that's all for the interview. Those are the topics we want to touch upon. Thank you once again for being here. Thank you for representing the USMNT, obviously, as well, representing the country, and for all the great talk, everything. Thank you very much.
All right, you take care, man.
Thank you very much, Terrence. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a great day, everyone.